Hey guys, I'm Tyler Lofton. I play the role of Connor on Love Victor, and you're watching Young Entertainment Magazine.
Connor, that's who you play on the show, but Tyler Lofton, thanks so much for speaking with Young Entertainment Magazine. And coming into season 3 of Love Victor, I've been a fan since the first season, just
Yeah,
binge watch the third and what will be the final season of Love Victor. But hey, they saved the best for last because
they
the
did.
to come
Come on now.
exactly. So were you familiar with the show? Were you a fan before joining the cast?
Yes, I was. So me and Michael Cimino, we've actually known each other for years now. So I knew him before he blew up. He booked Annabelle, and then he booked this show right after. So watching somebody that I know kind of blow up like that, I've been following his success since we met. So as soon as that show came out, I jumped right into it, and I had to watch both seasons. And I got lucky enough to join him in the third and final season, which was pretty cool.
Awesome. So you were pretty invested in the story and the
Oh,
characters.
definitely. I had auditioned back before, like while it was getting developed. I had auditioned for Benji, and then a year later, I auditioned for a guest star. I forget what the role was. I think like Cyrus or something. For season 2, and then the third one was the good luck one. Third time's a charm, and we booked Connor. So.
Nice. And what was that audition process for season 3? I mean, was this all over Zoom?
No, actually. So for the audition process, I got my audition, but while I got the audition, I was doing an interior design job in Philadelphia, and I taped it by myself. My manager, when I sent it in, he gave me some notes. He wanted me to do some adjustments. I threw in a little improv at the end that he thought was not needed, but I told a fib. It was the first and only time I ever lied to my manager. I said, "Hey, like I'm out. I won't be back until really late. So I'm not going to be able to get it in by the deadline." He goes, "Okay, I'll just send it in, but like for next time, da da da, whatever." And I was so confident in how I played the role and all of my choices, and I'm glad that I did because it landed me a beautiful role. So
A little white lie never hurts.
yeah,
So
it never hurts.
in this case, it helped actually. And so as far as you're talking about the audition process, and this, of course, would be a role that we don't know yet. Like we don't know who Connor is. We don't know how he fits into the story. So did you have to keep that a secret? I mean, were you kind of a secret new character?
Okay, it was a secret for me. I didn't even know. They
Okay.
gave me a one sentence description on the character. This gay, handsome in a brainy way, high school student at a party in a nice neighborhood. Like I looked it up right before this audition just to make sure I had a word for word. And so by giving me just a one sentence description, it told me nothing about my character. At the time, I thought it was just a one episode guest star. I get a drink spilled on me, and that's it. Um, so I didn't really know what I was doing going into it until after the fact. When I booked it, I had called Michael, and I told him, I said, "Hey, dude, like I just booked this role of Connor. I'm working one day with you, da da da, whatever." A couple days later, he calls me up and he goes, "Hey, dude, we're having this like Friendsgiving thing, and Anthony K. Bond, he plays your love interest throughout the course of the season. He wants to meet you. Like, do you want to come over to our Friendsgiving?" And I had flown back to LA from Philadelphia just a little bit early because I booked a little short film. So I was working on that film for a little bit. So I had a pass on it. But as soon as I got off the phone with him, I called my manager right away and I was like, "Hey, I just got off the phone with Michael. Michael said that I play the love interest of Rahim. I thought this was just a one episode, one day guest star." He goes, "Oh yeah, I didn't tell you it's recurring. Like you're gonna be in several episodes." And I was like, crazy. So it was a cool little surprise that I got, and I learned a little bit more on the phone with Michael that day. So
Very nice, very nice.
yeah,
And this interview will be coming out after the final season is released, so fans will have watched. They'll know who Connor is,
no,
and of course, the big cliffhanger at the end of season 2 was, does Victor choose Rahim or does he choose Benji? And he chooses Benji, and then Rahim's just kind of left alone. But I love that Rahim got a love interest, and it's Connor, which is so exciting, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Let's talk about when you got to the set and you got to be a part of this cast. What was it like coming into an already established cast who had 2 seasons under their belt?
It was pretty interesting. A lot of the projects that I have done up until this point have been a situation like that, coming into something that's already been done. But this one was a little bit different. I think part of the reason why it was different is because I knew Michael ahead of time, which made it a little bit more comfortable coming to set because you already have a friend. But it also kind of made it a little odd at first, because it's like if somebody has a regular day job and your friend comes into the day job and just hangs out with you all day, it's going to be kind of weird, because when you're working, you're in a totally different element than if you're just like chilling at home and you're watching movies, playing video games, whatever. So it was a little weird, but also cool. And having like that established cast already, by having a connection with Michael, I feel like it almost made every other cast member equally as like, oh, well, if you're close with Michael, if you're a friend of Michael's, then you're also a friend of mine. Everybody was just so loving, kind, and they're all so passionate about working on this project. So we all kind of got to relate in this. The show is such an iconic show that it just really having that shared passion all kind of related us together. So it was really fun, and I almost felt adopted into the family almost instantaneously.
Awesome. Love that. Let's talk about Connor. Who is Connor in all of this?
Oh, man.
Did you have to create like a backstory to play the part?
Yeah, a little bit. So like you just said a little bit ago, you mentioned that we're kind of happy that Rahim has somebody. So I kind of thought of Connor while we were playing this, that he was kind of like a period or a comma mark, for instance, to Rahim. The fans want everybody to have somebody in the end, and Connor gets to be that person. He plays such a small part in the overall story, but it kind of just like tied up some loose ends to make sure that the season or the series kind of rounds off and everything is kind of situated. In regards to having like a backstory, again, I was literally only given a 1-sentence description on my character. So I feel like it allowed me to kind of create whoever I wanted to create through him. So this is the first time I've ever played a character. This is the first time I ever had a character that I was able to craft however I wanted to. So because the show is so raw and so real, I felt like bringing in as much of myself as possible would continue to help it make it real and raw. So I brought a lot of my personal life into there. A lot of pivotal moments through like my childhood, I wrote into his own backstory. Finding my own sexuality, I also threw in there, and even part of like my high school experience. I went to an all-guy high school, and for Connor in the show, he plays this kid who's comes from a different school. So at the party, he really didn't even know anybody. So I kind of used that aspect of, I'm kind of secluded, and now we're kind of jumping into something else. So it was fun kind of being able to bring a lot of Tyler into Connor.
Nice, very nice. And when we first meet Connor, I love that I knew that you were going to be a character that we saw later on, because I knew we were doing this interview. I was like, oh, there he is. But even for someone who maybe didn't know, I think there is a moment where we sort of see your character for the first time and maybe get this thought of, man, there might be more to this character later on. But there's this great moment with Rahim, and he spills a drink on you at this party. And then later, the opposite happens at a restaurant where Rahim is a dinner guest and you are the waiter. I want to talk about that, because I don't know if there were special effects involved or if you guys were doing practical effects. I mean, really getting drinks spilled on you. How did that go down, and how many takes did you have to do to get that right?
Oh man. Definitely a lot. They were all real spills.
Okay.
And I'm kind of a perfectionist in so many things that I do, acting being one of them. I feel like there's so much perfect that needs to go into it, but also so much imperfect, and that imperfect kind of makes the perfect. The spill is the perfect, so many perfects. The spill is a perfect example of something that's so imperfect that had to kind of be perfect. So in the first episode, or the second episode of the series where you see me for the first time, um, we kind of practiced the spill a few times in an empty cup, just to kind of get down this like perfected choreographed science. And then once we kind of got it down and were comfortable enough, we added the drinks and we were able to tape a few takes.
Yeah.
So we did some without the water first, just to kind of get the lines down and all that kind of situation. And then we started spilling stuff, and having to spill on screen, you're doing so many different takes. So the spill almost has to be just as perfect as the last, for continuity reasons. Like if you get like a spill up here, but then the next take, the only spill is down here, then it just doesn't match up. We had about like 4 or 5 different shirts of like the same exact shirt. So every take we'd have to like switch out my shirt. It was also a very cold night for my take. So I was just getting dumped on, and it gets colder and colder as the night goes on. But yeah, there was a lot of science that went behind it for sure.
Yeah. Choreographed spilling.
Choreographed spilling, absolutely.
And of course, between Love, Simon the movie, and Love, Victor the series, we have a lot of iconic party scenes. I mean, it's a teen party always happening. What was that like to go to a teen party in the Love, Victor world? Was that fun?
Oh my God, it was fun. It low-key kind of felt like it was like a real party. When I first moved to LA, I was actually doing a lot of background work just because I wanted to get used to the whole on-set kind of vibe without being like important enough to, bro, you don't even know what the hell you're doing. So I would do a lot of background work. So I told myself back when I was doing that, I said, when I get to a point where I'm like a named character in something and we're doing scenes like this, I'm going to make a pact to myself to go ahead and make all the background feel as comfortable as possible. Because while I was doing background work, I noticed that the days that I would work harder and did a great job as this blurred figure in the background were the days where people who were acting would talk to me, make me feel like a person rather than just cattle. And I feel like a lot of actors who've never had the background experience, they don't understand that they get treated like garbage. So I made that pact to myself. So I'll go over this a lot of the background, and I'll talk to as many people as I can, while still trying to stay focused on like what I'm doing, because of course, first and foremost is my craft, and it is a job at the end of the day. But I'll go out of my way and talk to different background actors, and I'll always ask them like, hey, like, what's your character name? And they're almost like mind blown. They're like, I'm not a character. I'm like, but you are. Like, this is the Love Victor universe. This is not the real world. This is Love Victor. So say that there was a spinoff. You could be the star of the spinoff because you were in the background. You never know. So give yourself a character name. And then I give them an opportunity to create their own backstory for that character. So at the end of the day, while you're shooting these scenes, all these people are coming into their characters and living this, and I get to watch it with my own eyes. It's almost like being like a subtle director to the background. So those party scenes really do feel real, and a lot of the conversations and actions that they do they're just genuine and real.
Yeah,
and it's really cool.
Paying it forward. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and of course, you and Anthony got to work together, and the chemistry was great. Gotta give you props for that. So, what was it like working with him, and how did you make that chemistry work between the two of you? It's magical.
Thank you. It was awesome. Anthony's one of the sweetest, hardworking people that I've met and got to work with. Like I said a little bit earlier, he told Michael that he wanted to meet me for the Friendsgiving, and unfortunately I was working that day, so I couldn't. But just knowing that he already wanted to meet me kind of established for me, like, okay, there's already something there. it was like a mind trick almost of like, I felt like I had already known him, but not having met him prior, I think made the chemistry that much more real, especially in that first episode where you see me, because we had never even crossed paths before until that moment where he bumps a cup and spills it all over me. So yeah, I think I think that just helped a little bit. But yeah, working with him was absolutely incredible. It was just one of those, like, you know how like you meet a friend and like you just already know like, oh yo, we're gonna be close. Like it was like one of those things.
Nice.
So
Awesome. And then, of course, there's a scene where, because we see Rahim and Victor have a moment where he's telling Victor that he kissed Connor for the first time, and I'm wondering, was there a scene that got cut out, or do you think there could have been a scene shot there to have that moment happen?
There actually was not a scene that we shot where we kissed, but because Connor is just a smaller aspect of the whole overall story, I feel like having a kiss in place would have made the story kind of shift into like a different aspect. Not having that kiss there, I feel like adds to the mysteriousness of who Connor is. So I think the way that the writers wrote it, it kind of just wrapped it all together and kept the story flowing how it should be. However, I think that if there were to ever be like a spinoff or something, that could be something that we could give the people.
Yeah, the fans they're gonna want a Rahim and Connor kiss. So.
Yeah, come on now.
Yeah. Was there any part of Connor's story that you wish the audience got to see more of, based on maybe what you thought about the character, or that was just talked about and not shown?
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking about that a lot. I feel like because I brought a lot of my personal life into the character, I kind of wish that was shown. You know, if there had to have been a 4th season or even a Connor spinoff, you know, I think that diving into the whole world of being a bisexual person of color, especially coming from like an all guys high school, it would be a cool mix to kind of explore, because you don't really see that too much. There's a couple characters in the show who end up having oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her character name? But BB, she ends up having a girlfriend after, you know, dating Felix for a while. So that's kind of like one of the only like bisexual experiences that you get. So we don't really see that much, and let alone being a bisexual person of color, like that's like a whole community even in and of itself. So I wish we kind of got to explore some of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, love Connor, it's coming. So
love Connor, it's coming soon.
All right. Well, what was the most challenging part of working on this project, and how did you take it on?
Ooh, man, that's a good question. That's a thinker. What is one of the most challenging parts?
Besides all the water choreography and spilling and all that we talked about.
I feel like that would really only be it. It wasn't really like there was nothing to this. A lot of my other projects, like I do have some challenges, but I think because I brought so much of myself into this character, it was literally like I'm just like living in my own world, you know, just in front of cameras. So everything becomes very natural and smooth as we play. So, and I think that's just part of the show. I feel like every person would kind of have that same answer. Yeah.
Okay. And then as far as what you hope that viewers take away from Connor, I mean, I loved what you were saying about, you know, playing a character, you know, a bi person of color. I mean, is that where you see yourself kind of representing in the show?
Yeah. My character description was, it's a gay high school student.
Right.
So I got to play like that side. But I feel like the one thing that I would like people to take away from my character is, I'd probably say like divine connection. I'm a huge believer in divine connection, and everything happens for a reason. And that's kind of how Connor and Rahim meet. It's this divine connection thing of like, yo, you get spilled on and then you end up spilling on somebody else. And it's this meet cute, they call it.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people in this world today, they get so trapped behind the screens on their phone, and they're living in this whole world that's online, and they forget human interaction, genuine human interaction. That's something that our parents had, because there was no such thing as Instagram and all the social media stuff. And I would love to see that more in our world, because it truly is something that's just special and much more genuine than an online persona. Because anybody can play anybody behind a screen, but only you can play you in person. So who knows? Somebody's accidental spill could end up being the best part of their whole entire life.
And getting hit on by like a waiter and a waitress, like I know a lot of people know that experience and how giddy that can be. So that's always fun. Yeah. Okay, so I did want to mention what you just said about the meet cute. Did you have to Google that? Was that explained to you, the meet cute thing that was?
No, I honestly thought that was a thing that they just made up.
Well, me too.
Until we were shooting the scene in the restaurant where I spill on Rahim, and I was like, meet cute, like they just kept saying it. And I was like, is this actually a thing? And I think it was Isabella actually who told me that it's like actually this thing of like, yo, like people like they're meet cute. She kind of like explained it to me, which I think is so cute. So yeah. I have take two. I have yet to have my own meet cute in the world. So, you know, I'm hoping that maybe I'll find my meet cute soon. So
it's going to be a thing now that people start saying on the internet.
Oh yeah.
Victor. All right. Well, we heard that Anthony took one of Rahim's designer bags from the set. You were there with everyone on the last day, I understand. So did you get to take anything?
Unfortunately, no. I just felt like, because this was my first role ever playing, where I'm in multiple episodes. So
trying to be good. I get it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be good. I don't want to ask for too much. Like, I'm already getting so many dreams coming true in this experience. But there is one thing at the end of season 3, in the last episode, Connor and Rahim were playing a little game, and I win them this little stuffed animal. So at the end, after we had all wrapped, I went back over to the booth, stole the stuffed animal, and as he drove away, I gave him that gift. So it was a kind of cute little farewell present.
No, that's great. That's great. Okay, cool. Well, you said you were there when the show was wrapping, and I'm curious, what was the final night of shooting like, or the final day of shooting, not only from your perspective of just coming on the outside, but for you personally?
Yeah.
As a fan of the show, as someone who's coming into the cast now.
Oh my gosh, by the end of the series, I really felt like such a part of the family. Like, we'd have conversations. There was one night where we all went out and we went to some burlesque show, like the whole entire cast, and I became such a part of something. I've never felt in like a work experience or like a work setting. I've never felt so loved and cared about and really part of something. So in that last few moments of after we all wrapped and Michael says this speech and like we're all talking, it was very emotional. Michael, in his speech, he made a grown man tear up, man. It was, yeah, we all shared a moment, that's for sure.
Can you share a little bit about the speech or what you remember from it?
Yeah. So he was kind of like going into his whole like how he moved out to LA and this being like his first like really big project and his first series, and how much of a family that was created and how many lives that the show changed, let alone him as Victor. Like, I remember when he was doing season 1 and I was talking to him, he was telling me like some of the letters and the DMs that he would get, like it really put him in a place of like, oh my God, I'm really doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think a lot of the show is that way, in every character in a way. It's such an iconic show in the sense that it's changing so many people's lives. We never really have seen such an impactful show that kind of jumps into the LGBTQIA culture. Yeah. So I think for a lot of people, it's like, you know, I hope the story lives on. I hope that even though this is ending, we've sparked a lot of things for other people, even sparked more shows in the industry that can continue to help people. So it was like this whole shared moment that we all had, and it was beautiful, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Love Simon and Love Victor, without a doubt, felt like the very first like mainstream, especially for a teen audience, for sure. So,
Yeah.
and we're seeing it already sparking new shows and
Mhm.
everything. Okay,
Absolutely.
well, as we were talking about Michael's speech there on the last day of shooting, I want to ask about Victor's speech, and this might be another one that you have to think on. But he says, "Embrace the scary," which was very powerful to hear Victor give that speech when he's accepting the award in the last episode.
Mhm.
What does "embrace the scary" mean to you?
Oh man, I feel like it means so many things to so many different people. But to me, embrace the scary. Oh, it is another thinker.
Yeah,
It's almost like surrendering yourself to everything. You know, I can relate to it a lot in the aspect of like throughout my whole entire life, I've dealt with a lot of so-called trauma. Parents splitting up when I was a newborn, a lot of family deaths before I was even in high school, losing my stepdad when I was I was a sophomore when my stepdad passed away. Shortly after I moved out to LA with only $80. That's another scary moment. Moving to LA from Ohio with $80 in my pocket and nothing but faith. About a year into it, my mom had gotten sent to prison. So like there's a lot of scary that I've faced, but because I kind of started experiencing that very little, I almost subconsciously embraced the scary. All those scary moments, they're all there to make you better, make you stronger, and kind of just make you a more beautiful person all around. God and the universe, they're never going to give you anything that you can't handle. And again, everything happens for a reason. So that's what embrace the scary means to me, I suppose.
it sounds like you're going to have quite a powerful memoir there too. So, and of course, you know, you were talking about this being the first show that you've really gotten to be a part of the cast on multiple episodes. That's all very exciting. I'm sure this is just the beginning, though. So, what's next for your career path, do you think?
Ooh, I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about. I
Love Connor, we know.
Love Connor. I hope so. Like that would be really sick. Like that would honestly be a dream come true to me. One reason I am an actor is not just because I enjoy it so much, but it's because I feel like I was given this gift of being able to communicate and help change the world in whatever aspect the world throws at me. And a show like this, which I think Love Victor had done it already, but having another show where I can kind of lead that would be amazing. I want to change the world through being somebody who other people can relate to. I have a great talent to do that, and the shows and movies that I'm doing is that outlet for me. In regards to the things that I'm doing right now, I am working on another show right now. I don't know if I'm still supposed to keep this under wraps or not, probably. But it's a good show. You can find it on 4 or 5 different streaming and networks. That's something that I'm not giving anything away there. So it's a pretty nice show. And we got a couple other little projects that we haven't started yet. A movie, possibly another movie. So, you know, this is, like you just said, this is the beginning for me. And I'm excited to get this started, you know.
Nice. And let's bring it back to the show for a second for the fans. You know, what do you think would be next for Rahim and Connor after the credits, after we saw at the fair? What do you think their relationship holds for the future, or the future holds for their relationship?
So much. Right after the credits, I think right after that carnival scene, we'd probably go back to my house, steal a bottle of wine from the parents' wine cabinet, turn on a movie, and, you know, the rest is history. But moving forward, I think after that, I think there's a lot that could come from that relationship. We're wrapping up high school. So I think a lot of drama and emotion that comes from moving forward, like college, maybe not college. I didn't go to college, so maybe Connor doesn't go to college too. Maybe he chooses an artistic path to travel down. But I think that there would, I feel like I would love to see something like that. We see a lot of like typical high school, college drama in a bunch of different shows and movies, but something that kind of goes above and beyond. I feel like that's who Connor is as a person. He's just a little bit different than most. Um, and so is Rahim. He's just different. And I love that for both of us. So there's so much, but I don't even really want to give what I think. I think that's a great way for, it's a great thing for fans to kind of think about.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, Tyler Lofton, this has been so fun. Any last message for the fans of Love Victor before we wrap things up?
Oh my gosh, embrace the scary. If I have like, if I
prepared for the fandom to like fall in love with you, fall in love with Connor?
I'm always ready, but I always try and just prepare myself just in case. I'm not expecting anything, but I am ready if it comes, and I'm ready to meet as many people as I can and share my story. So right. I don't know.
All right. Well, I appreciate it so much. This has been so great talking to you, and thanks for having on Young Entertainment Magazine.